May have to edit a little bit of that out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Basic AF. I'm Tom Anderson, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, the shirtless Jeff Battersby. Hello, Jeff.
Bro, you're outing me. It's 91 degrees where I am right now. So, yes, I'm shirtless. I'm sorry you have to see this. But yeah, that's me. Got my pants are on though, Tom.
Good.
Which is more than I can say for you. So,
all right. So you're out west, right? So it's hot out west.
It is. It's beautiful. We're up in the Sierra, a place called Twain Harte, which is where I spent my summers in my youth.
Nice.
We're gonna be spreading my uncle's ashes in the Sierra this week. So that's what we're here for. We're all together. And speaking of all together, Tom, we've had a guest. Why don't you cue up that first song?
All right, let's do it.
I don't want to know about your imperfections, dude. Prefer to leave you on a pedestal so I'll improve. Cause if I'm finding out you know more, then I'm just like you. That gon' smash my whole world. Lost in illusion, drowning myself up in the sauce. Put my glasses on backward and rewind my watch.
Now, regular listeners of this podcast are probably wondering, why are they playing the intro music again?
And the answer to that question is we have somebody who spent a lot of time behind the mic with us today, Celsius 7, who is also my brother, Jacob Battersby. So, Jacob, welcome.
Thank you.
It's really good to have you. We've been talking about doing this for a minute and talking with you a little bit about your music and what you do and why. And that's kind of how we want to kick it off. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you? And then, because I'm your brother, I know all sorts of questions. It'll be really embarrassing. So I'll ask you the good ones.
Okay, cool. I'm also shirtless. It's really hot in here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on the show, Tom. It's really nice to meet you finally.
Me too.
Yeah, gosh, about me. I don't know. I'm about to turn 50 tomorrow, like I said. So that feels like a long story.
Well, happy birthday.
Yes, very.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a Bay Area native. I'm your brother. I've been a musician for many, many years. I've worn a lot of hats in my life up to this point. Basically, one of my taglines I give myself is cubicle evader with major flavor. So, that's been my goal since I graduated college, is not to, live that cubicle corporate life. And now actually, now that I'm saying it in the moment, like that's kind of cool. I've made it to 50 and haven't been entrapped, very often. Yeah, I continue to make music. I had a very long period in my life where I was like prolific with it and it was my main career. I still make music more as, a hobby and just for meditation and relaxation, that kind of thing. But for many years, it was my main thing. I was a touring artist and a recording artist, and we started our own record label and put out a bunch of records. And, from that, being from the Bay Area and very DIY, kind of realized at a certain point by throwing my own shows with my partners that like, oh, I'm an event producer too. So I had a long career in event production, which I still also do at this time, just in a different kind of format, I guess. And I'm a voice actor. I'm a dad of a beautiful 10-year-old girl. I'm a husband. I'm a brother. I'm a son.
All the things.
I'm me. Jacob Battersby. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So, Jacob is, as you said, turning 50 tomorrow, which is hard to believe. And when he was born, I was 14 years old. So now everybody knows how old I am. But I will say, just on a personal level, always been a significant part of my life. Like I think you have been and always were the first one that made me feel what it was like to be a parent, and I always loved having you around. Some of that was to pick up girls, confess,
Did it work?
You did? Yeah.
Okay, good.
When you're walking around with a baby on your hip, a cute little baby on your hip.
I used to use my knees for that sometimes. Too. It definitely works. It's like having a cute puppy or something.
Yeah.
They'll talk to you.
Exactly right. But one of the things, I mean, not to get too deep into it, but change your diapers, did all that kind of stuff. I was involved, as a big brother. I was old enough to kind of have a sense of that. So, I think because of that, we've been close for ever since you were a little boy, you know, and
you were the nicest brother. Although, just real quick, is my level without leaning in good? Can you tell? Sounds good.
It's not too bad. It is a little better when you lean in, though, if you could do that. No, you don't want to get too close to Jeff. It gets a little weird.
Okay,
I'll stay supine, or what is it?
Weather. It's using big words, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, he was the baby brother to all of us, but really, I would say had a very significant impact on my life as a young adult. Not just in helping me get girls, but just really helping me understand what it was like to be around a little baby. And so that's really good stuff. And one of the other things that we've done back and forth over the years, you and I have written fiction together, not on the same project, but we've separately written fiction that we've worked with each other on. But you've always been very artistic. And from a very early age, we're doing this. So I'm curious, what was it that got you into music and wanting to do that? And more specifically, hip hop. What kind of was the thing that made you, you want to dive down that little pipe of musical work?
I mean, I think just cause, the year I was born was kind of the advent of hip hop culture. Now, granted, I was in California, in Alameda, in a little town, but at the same time, right, in the late 70s, hip hop culture was just forming and starting to grow, and it leaked to our little town real early. So I think first probably to our brother Greg, like I can remember being really little and, knowing all the words, well, not all the words, but being really exposed to Sugar Hill Gang. So when hip hop became commercial with their single, right, with Rapper's Delight, that reached Greg probably, or maybe you.
No, it was Greg.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was Greg. Greg brought it into the house. Exactly.
Greg brought it in, and I can remember hearing that, and I just, I could even now like still kind of remember the enthusiasm behind it, and it was funny, and Greg was reciting some of the verses like on rides home, even maybe from here, like our Volkswagen bus or something like that. So being exposed to it then, and then just gradually like it became more prominent. But I remember Kristen had a vinyl record of Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh, Lottie Dottie in the show, and I listened to that nonstop and memorized all the words, and I just loved it. And then it was just snowballed from there because he was really taking off. So it was, I feel super lucky to have grown up, one, in the Bay, which had a lot of cool stuff going on. And then also as hip hop was just developing, then it was like, for me in like third grade or whatever, seeing Beat Street and Break-In, which were kind of, looking back, kind of whack commercial representations of hip hop culture when it finally got out to the masses. But it was just super inspiring, and I moved with it. And I could remember writing something when I was in third grade, and it's always been very like emotional based. I think it was like based off of like our parents' divorce or something. That was the first song I wrote, but it wasn't like hip hop. It was more, I was in love with Prince. I wanted to be Prince big time, like third grade. So it was like in that style. Yeah. So I don't know. I just felt, I felt inclined towards creating, and that was kind of the well I drew from. And then it just grew, like fourth grade, fifth grade, hip hop kept growing. Being in the Bay, it was like, again, very DIY, Too Short, Hieroglyphics, all these different artists that were doing stuff on their own and putting it out. And I just loved it. I just gravitated to it for whatever reason. Hip hop culture really spoke to me. And even I understood it more as I got older with like Public Enemy and empathizing with like the struggles of Black people or disenfranchised people, or, you know, like I think that spoke to me a lot, like that passion. And yeah, I think I just started with my buddies because I loved the music so much. We would freestyle together, right? Which is just improvising songs on the spot, and making up music together. And it was just so prominent. Like there wasn't a lot of people that rapped around us, but the music was everything, right? So I'm talking, for me, it's like, let's say middle school, when I saw the Beastie Boys doing it, I was like, oh, I'm white too. I could do it. It's not just for these other people, right? It's okay for me. So I started doing it more after that. And then like middle school for me was like Beastie Boys to NWA, Eazy-E, like Public Enemy, all these super dope, like very formative groups that have like still echo to this day, you know, like I still listen to all that, but I don't know, it was just powerful and I just went with it. And, that inspired me, like freestyling first with my friends on a boy dance karaoke machine. And then I would start to write things after that. And I mean, I could keep talking for 45 minutes.
That's cool.
But that's kind of like how I got into it. And then, you know, from there, a lot of cool stuff happened, like just by trusting myself and believing that, you know, like I could do this kind of stuff. You know?
So you had a bunch of friends, middle school, that you started meeting with them, or was it even elementary school?
Yeah, no, middle school were people like Domingo I met in middle school, and that would be Psychokinetics.
Okay.
You know,
so that was the beginning of that. Who all are in Psychokinetics? Who are the characters that come to play there?
So, Domingo Reynolds, aka Spidey, or Spider, was a guy I met through my buddy Isaac way back in the day, like third grade. We reunited in middle school. We didn't really hang out in middle school that much. In high school, it was all about like freestyle circles. Now, granted, so we're in Alameda. We're a stone's throw from Oakland, San Francisco. Like we have a lot of great culture coming at us all the time, you know. So we were influenced by that, and we would always be rapping together at school. But it was always very a self-conscious thing, you know, for a long time until we got confident about it. But Domingo, I met and started hanging out with in middle school mainly, then high school. And then when our sister Kristen went to San Francisco State, it became more real because she's 6 years older than me. And she was friends with Ill Media, Mark Reitman, who was an actual like producer who had like gear and could record. And like, that was like not just karaoke machine or in a circle banging on a garbage drum in our neighborhood or whatever, you know. He could really do stuff. So Kristen introduced me to Mark, Ill Media, and then he recorded some of our first songs. He was part of it. And then later in the fold, we brought in Dave Grammarosa, DJ Denizen, who was another DJ from, oh gosh, I'm sorry, Dave. You were from the East Coast. I want to say Connecticut, but I know that's wrong. So sorry if you're but he's from the East Coast. Damn it. I don't know that. Anyways, he brought it in. So at one point, and again, there's a longer story to this, but it's like, it was 2 MCs, 2 DJs in our group, which was really cool for live performances when we got to that point. But first it was just us 3 recording with Mark. I think maybe we'll play it a little bit tonight, but Land of the Lost was one of the first songs we recorded, and some other ones. Land of the Lost was cool for us because it got on a Bay Area compilation somehow, I don't know, and that kind of helped propel us a little bit, you know, forward. But yeah, that was the main us for Psychokinetics. And then we had visual artists, Danny Wilson from Hoser Graphics, Ben Sutherland from this thing called Protoscape. This is his business now, or it was, but we had a lot of creative people around us. So they're doing visuals with the music, but on stage, it was like 2 DJs, 2 MCs. Domingo and I are the MCs, Mark and Dave, the DJs.
All right. So why don't we kick off some of that early work? Let's listen to Land of the Lost, a little minute of that.
Thought I was Taj Mahal on the sample.
And yo, this rhyme was written in my room as the rain tinkle dropped upon my window, the sparks to the brain. You see their portraits of them pastors was plastered all around. I reminisced on the mystery in ways I find like profound. With wrinkled picture here, the scripture for the first time at 10 with no cares, just all the airs over stairs in the blend. Times I deal with clown and steel was the way that I vent. My main pursuit was the boops and the bit, my intent. Glycerine, serpentine, shit was hot kerosene, so tambourine intervened and turned my life velveteen on the real friend. So I packed up and hit the metro, small town.
So what year was that recorded?
I want to say that was probably 97.
Okay, so we're going way back then.
Yeah, we're going way back.
Almost 30 years at this point.
Damn, that's crazy.
Right?
Crazy. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to unravel. And I'll try not to be so long-winded. But
No. It's good to hear.
Yeah, so probably around 97. And we recorded a couple songs prior to that. But everything before this was like recorded on tape splices, on karaoke machines. And really, most of it was just in person, IRL, rapping to each other because we just loved it so much. And it was so fun to show out and freestyle. And but that was our first like legit song we recorded that was on a compilation in the Bay that was to us like major. We had these groups, Living Legends, Mystic Journeyman, The Coup, Planet Asia. Like these aren't huge commercial artists, but like giants.
And The Coup is huge.
The Coup still. Boots.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, Boots Riley.
We got on that, and that was a decent like little catapult to start getting us a little notice, in the Bay at least.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I mean, to me, again, you're my brother, but I would, if I didn't like your music, I wouldn't listen to it. Yeah. This is really solid, for something early. So
gate,
you're really kind of little kids still.
Gosh, yeah, I don't even know, maybe 28.
Early 20s, maybe.
Yeah, early 20s. And you're, this is pretty solid stuff. So you were saying you were putting together tapes and stuff like that in the early days and like literally hand splicing stuff together.
Yeah, Domingo used to make beats before we had any samplers or, of course, computer stuff we do nowadays. But it's like tape slice beats. You record instead of like with a record, right? A DJ will take a sample, loop it over and over and over, right? Or whatever. He would do it with tapes. So Domingo's very talented instrumentalist, and he would have two, a dual-sided cassette and play the sample, record it on one side, stop it, pause. It's pause, record. So rewind over and over doing the loop, make these loop tapes for us, and we would rap over that. And that's the first time I ever performed was when I was 15 as a sophomore at my high school dance off a loop beat that Domingo did. And that was the first time I did it. And it was hilarious. I wish I had footage of that because I had no idea of like, I felt like at that point, like, a hip rapper has an image. This is what you look like. I had like overall with one strap down and the turn, and the raps had nothing to do with my life. And I like memorized it incessantly to the point where I forgot it when I got on stage. Ended up cursing my head off freestyling with my Spanish teacher going, "No, how cold was it?" Pulling me off the stage. So, but yeah, 15 was the first time I tried to perform live at least, and like, with those kind of beats. And then,
And so you mentioned something there a couple of minutes ago, Jacob, where, the hip hop kind of leaked into your town early.
Yeah.
And I think, back in those days with us being older gentlemen, it was a lot different.
Yeah.
Like, because now, I mean, you look, people can go viral on TikTok and launch something.
Right.
They could go on YouTube. But back then, especially if you were in a small town, I mean, you had, if you were close enough to a major city, you would have radio stations that would come in. If you were really in the middle of nowhere, it was hard to find things and hard for artists to be discovered because there was no internet. There was no, let's go live on YouTube and stream to 100,000 people at any time. Yeah. It was completely different. So back in those days, you mentioned the compilations. Those, I guess, were important ways to get discovered. Yep. And then the live shows. And a lot of it was just, I'm guessing, just being on the street, just
Absolutely.
You know, getting out every chance you can to play, which there's still some of that today, I'm sure. But just the exposure levels back then, you just didn't have the
you had to
possibilities
hustle
you got
real
now.
hard, man. And in one way, I wish that I had what those guys had. Just more of kind of like, I wonder what it would have been like with that easy access to spreading your music everywhere. But we had great models in the Bay. First, like I mentioned before, like Too Short, he was selling tapes on the back of the buses in Oakland, and he, became what he became. We had living legends, Mystic Journeyman, The Grouch. Like, this might make sense to some of your listeners, but to us, they were like the dudes that were doing it and like really, making you realize it was possible. So, we followed their model and printed our own, duplicated our own tapes and did our own art and threw our own shows. And we would be out on Telegraph Ave in Berkeley trying to sell our tapes.
Wow.
And, trying to hustle like that. But you were always the one. It wasn't about just, let me upload this video and, see if people will take notice. You had to be out there like doing it, So, and to be honest, like with all that, like coming as a kid, just loving hip hop and like rapping with my friends at home in secret or whatever, like we got to do way more than I ever would have imagined, which is pretty cool. And I definitely thank like those guys. For me, again, Living Legends, Mystic Journeyman, Hieroglyphics, like they set the model and we just kind of tried to do the same thing, being from the area. But yeah, dang, I wish I had TikTok. I mean, so much stuff I wish was recorded and out there. Like, man, I mean, I feel like we could have obviously reached a lot more people, with what we were doing, but I'm still happy with what we did. But definitely like, I wonder what it was like, right?
So you put together a couple of tapes in which the Land of the Lost we just heard was from it's actually on an album, if you will.
Yeah.
Heaters in the Attic.
Oh, no, it was, and it started off, it was on Rules of the Game compilation on Tripec Records, which is a really cool compilation. I don't know if it streams now, but.
So that was on that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you put Heaters in the Attic together after the fact, or?
We did 2 tapes first, cassettes, and then Heaters in the Attic was both of those tapes with a couple bonuses once we were able to make CDs. So
Got it.
It was like the archive kind of stuff. Yeah.
So this was first album for Psychokinetics? First?
The tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure. Yeah.
So at what point in time did you guys decide, you and Domingo and Denizen, decide that you really were going to try to make a go at this? What made you say, hey, we got to give this a go?
I don't know if we ever even said it. It was Domingo and I think, just being so passionate and loving it so much, we just kept making music and be like, we're making music, we got to do shows. But we're doing shows, we got to put out a tape, we got to put out, and just being driven and young and passionate. And it was never like, I mean, I can remember when we made up our name for our group, Psychokinetics, but it was never like, plotting things out. It was just that we were so passionate about it. And that was what we ate every day. It was like, wasn't even a choice. I was just like really driven to constantly write, like, and not so much like, ooh, we got to blow up, we got to be famous. Like for me, and I think for Domingo too, it was like, those are very angsty years. So just like being able to cope with life, like making music was necessary, at that time. So, I think that, I don't know. I just had a drive to create things and put it out there. And Domingo was willing to like do it with me.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
All right, cool. Let's kick up the next one. Tom?
All right, let's do it.
America, this is quite serious. America, this is the impression I get from looking at a television set. America, is this correct?
It's the cancer crap, pitch in the mic, cry of the banshee. Exquisite when I visit the stage and turn badly. Iterate the space with my style and grace. Till the mirror don't accept reflections of my face. Because I'm more wary from the feelings I buried in my chest. Manifest to give rest to that ill berry. Because I'm very passionate about these. If these words is hard to follow, mannequin day peace. Hey, one day I'ma open up and thrust through the sky. Release the beats and cause heart's poetry as my only weapon.
So that's The State. And what year was that?
Oh gosh, so that's off our first
Didn't mean to
album.
put you on the spot.
No, I could do it. So it's off our first album, Sensory Descent. So probably around like 98, 99.
Okay, so we're still late
something like
90s.
that. Yeah, late 90s. Very much into the like must preserve hip hop. It's becoming too commercial and misogynistic and materialistic. And that was the drive. Like we were like very much like wanted to be superhero hip hop where we're trying to like crush all this whack shit and bring keep the essence alive, man. It was like very earnest, you know, that I could remember that being a drive of being like, oh, we got to keep like the real like music out there. And like, you know, what it started as is like an expression of so many things, you know, but being honest and being like something that brings power to people, you know, that don't have voices perhaps or whatever. But like, that was it for me. It's kind of funny looking back in retrospect because, you know, I think it was probably a little, I don't know, what's the word? Like, I felt like I had this role, like I had to do it. You know what I mean?
Little savior complex.
Maybe a little without, you know, but I mean, it was going on a lot with a lot of even larger artists, you know, we were just like, cause that was kind of, we're getting close to the P. Diddy era and the blingy and the, you know, like all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So like just being appalled by that and wanting to keep hip hop at its essence was kind of where we were at with that, with a lot of our albums. So, yeah, we were just, Domingo and I both, and all the people we were around, like, we're so into, like, the lyricism of hip-hop and the poetry and the power that it had to move people and sustain people and empower people. So that's, like, you hear that a lot in our early music about that. And just being totally honest and not being afraid to be vulnerable was a big thing with us.
Very cool. So there's a really, like, we've listened to a couple of songs, you know, the song that we lead the show with every time, really a lot of energy to it. The one we just listened to, Let It Lost, from what is, you can download as Heaters in the Attic.
All this.
And then this tune, the State, there's a kind of energy behind all these songs. Were you getting influenced by other artists? You know, what were things that were kind of driving the way that you were thinking about your music and what you were doing?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, and not just with hip hop. I mean, just, I love music, good music. So I was super influenced by like Smashing Pumpkins and all the hip hop that was happening in the Bay. And I mean, it's hard to go back and think of everyone I was influenced by, but yeah, for sure. I mean, we felt like we were part of a movement of something, you know, and just were like almost delusional about it, you know, like just so caught up in the wave of it. It was awesome, you know, just to be like, you know, I had friends that were just out of college or whatever and in these humdrum jobs that they hated. And I was just like not even hearing it, just like going at it and just following our passions 100%, you know? So yeah, there's way too many people that named that I was inspired by, but there was a lot of that going on at that time. And, you know, they say like the golden era of hip hop is like what, 93 or 92 through 95 or, you know, whatever. So that was like right around the time I graduated high school and I was just swept in all that, you know? So all those artists, East Coast, West Coast, were just so inspiring and, you know, took us with them kind of. And I don't know, man, it's weird. Again, I throw in delusional because I mean, I'm so thankful for it, but like, I don't know. It's like I had no choice. I was just like, it spoke to me so much. And, you know, there's a lot of political things going on that I probably put to the wayside at that time, but I was very aware of and opposed to, and I wanted to speak out about it. And also just like, speaking out about like all the music that spoke out about like materialism and, you know, we were driven to like help people's self-esteem, because like we felt like there was so much energy that was going towards all of us that would make you feel bad about yourself and feel like you need to be a certain way. And we're like, no, just like be you. Like, don't. It's very hippy dippy. Maybe that's the day too. We were kind of like hippie hard a little bit, but like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if that's.
And if you go back to the 90s, that period, especially early to mid 90s, we were coming out of the excesses of the 80s.
Yes.
But we were kids then. And so I don't know about you guys, but I was a kid. The only thing I was really worried about as a kid was, music and baseball. And then,
hey, man.
Right. And so I wasn't really paying attention to political stuff at that point.
Yeah, no.
Jeff, we're not doing politics on the show, I know.
Thank goodness.
But
I try to pay attention to it.
But, right, I try not to now. But, so that whole period, though, for music, hip-hop, and I think rock included, because, in the 70s, we had the big classic rock bands. Right. And then in the 80s, it got a little weird.
Spandex, long hair.
But a lot of great 80s music, though, man.
There is, yeah. And
all that emo shit, that was the origination of that, angst and the nuclear doom behind it. It was just like,
yeah.
It's
still some of my favorite music.
Oh, it's great music.
Yeah, and we came out of that into the 90s, and so, like, on the rock side of things anyway, we were in hair metal, with, Rat and Warrant and all that. And then grunge came with, Nirvana and Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, all of those types. And so that whole period was, I feel like every generation says this, though, but that period of the 90s had a lot of great music, too. In general, like across all the genres there.
For sure.
So speaking of making sure things go straight socially, you're definitely a man with opinions. And with regard to that, let's kick up the next song, Tommy.
Opinion song?
Is it?
I love this song.
No, he maybe got the...
Just play it.
I got the wrong one.
Let it roll. It's a good one. I like this one. There's something in there. It's actually one of my favorite songs lyrically. And this is solo Celsius 7.
Wait till they get a load of me. Danger, danger, beware the stranger. Pack up the rhythm and break down the manger. I be the wrangler, pack the most flavor. Post-pop meridian, Macadose major. Choke the strangler, rope a coat hanger. Anybody follow me, whoops, there goes deja vu. It's true anger, burst through my fingers.
So you caught me mid-attempt to get a drink of water.
Let's
hit the next one. And I'm like, okay.
No. It's cool. So tell us about that.
That one's called Small Science. I don't know. I don't remember writing it. I just know the beat is by Denizen. And again, it's like you get swept up by an instrumental, and it just, all of a sudden you've been writing for 2 hours and you come out with a song, and that's what happened with that one. But I love that song. I don't know why it has no chorus. It's just all lyrics. Dirt Nasty's at the end of it with some offensive voicemail he left me. And I don't know. Yeah, I've been feeling more inspired to write recently. I've been making a lot of instrumental music more recently, and I've been feeling more inspired to write lately because of like songs like that where there's no topic, just go and just see what it branches out to. And that's kind of like what that song was, but it touches on a lot of things.
Including, if you will, I don't want to read too much into it because it wasn't a thing at the time that you wrote it, but kind of leads into AI and robots and the whole idea of that kind of system of power, which is why I wanted to include it in the list of
robots suck cock of bald giants.
Yeah, right. We're gonna have to put an E rating on this.
That's okay.
We've been E'd before.
It's so weird when you write a song, because it's like I don't oftentimes when I'm thinking of what I'm gonna write, it's whack, and when I just flow with the pen, like it's weird how it makes sense sometimes, and like, so I like now a lot of times I'll freestyle everything and then go in there and take the pieces I like, because that's more of like what I'm thinking about and what's.
So you record your freestyle and then take the bits of that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when you're doing that, are you creating your own beats, or are you?
Did you see that?
No, you saw me touch my nose. Don't get too close to me. Yeah. Okay. This is family. This is a family podcast.
I'm practically family at this point.
Yeah, I would say, right, because we both have our shirts off with you. So when you say you're writing new stuff now, and we're going to listen to some of your instrumental work in a minute or two, but are you working off your own beats, or are you working off?
Yeah, Ill Media has sent me a bunch of new stuff. And I kind of like with the instrumental things, I made 2 instrumental albums, Flavor Blasters, Volume 1 and Moon Patrol. During COVID, I started making beats, because before I'd co-produced stuff for Psychokinetics and myself, but mostly I was just a lyric writer and performer. And I was like, I have to prove to myself that I could actually make music too, like make the instrumentals. So I taught myself over COVID to keep myself sane. And these were the 2 albums that I did during that time. But to answer your question, Ill Media sent me a bunch of new beats, and I'm starting to for fun write things. It's weird. I try to prove to myself I can still do things often over time, so I'm like, all right, can I still write a song? Can I, so I'm going to probably record a couple of things that I'm doing right now with just for fun. Yeah. Before the drive was like, all right, I'm going to blow up, fool. I'm going to get signed. I'm going to, all that. Now it's just about enjoying doing it and the art of it. And there's no endpoint that's required, so.
Yeah, which is important. I think that frees you even more. You don't have to hit the Diddy Mountain or whatever it is that you're doing.
Sure, yeah. No need.
No more, I don't know, Diddy parties or whatever the hell.
Never got invited.
Fair.
Good thing.
Yeah. Better for you now.
For sure.
So the one I wanted to kick up before this, let me just say this. So the last song that we just listened to, Small Science, off of a Celsius 7 only album, so not a Psychokinetics album.
2 albums. That one's off Life Well Spent.
Okay. Yeah. But still some of the same people working on that with you, or is it?
On Life Well Spent, Denizen did a bunch of beats. Mark did a couple. I worked with a lot of different producers for that one, and same with Wanderlust. But Ill Media, Wanderlust was my other solo album. He made a lot of the beats on that. So,
okay.
Yeah. In general, I've always been recording over other people's instrumentals. So eventually, I want to do something over my own if I ever feel like doing it.
All right, cool. So the next one we want to kick up, Tom, and I'll just say something about this. You have an amazing sense of humor, filthy sometimes, and there are a couple of different people that you've worked with over the ages, including Dirt Nasty, aka
Simon Rex.
Yeah. Who you may have seen on TV or in movies or on MTV.
A lot recently.
Yeah, definitely.
Movies.
Red Rocket recently. And what was the other one he was in? The one that
Blink Twice.
Yeah, which was so good and made
and we both grew up in Alameda, so interesting little island energy. I don't know what it is, but it produces some cool people.
Yeah, you guys have been besties for a long time and even moved to LA with him for a little minute.
Yep, I lived in his little dungeon.
Wait a second.
Well, and his basement. It wasn't his dungeon.
So you with the same, or pretty much the same crew that you did Psychokinetics.
Yeah, a couple new participants, but a lot of the same.
And you had a group called Kalri.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Okay, yes, this needs explaining. So this kind of goes along with the same theme of wanting to save shit, back in the day. So Kalri, and for everyone that's familiar, right? Lando Calrissian, he's kind of the swashbuckling space pirate dude, shady, pulling stuff over on people. Colt 45, Billy D. Williams, smooth operator, right? And we started Kalri, and Domingo and I recorded the first 2 songs. And it was started as something to kind of make fun of misogynistic, materialistic, commercial rap. Like everyone's trying to be a player and like show what they got and how many women they got and money and da 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 da. We wanted to make fun of that. And so we started Calrissian, which is KALRI $IAN. And we recorded an album, and then we did the first two songs. Sorry, we didn't record an album. We did the first two songs. And then we found this amazing MC who was also from the Bay named Subverse. Shout out my boy Jerome. And another dude from the UK, MC Child, who was living in the Bay, and he's an amazing MC in person. And we brought them in, and then it was Denizen and my man Jamie Hill, who recorded most of Psychokinetics albums. He was very heavily involved in Calrissian. So we started it off at this thing, like I said, to kind of make fun of what was going on in commercial hip hop with all these characters that thought they were the cat's meow and like they were all losers, you know, but it was like we made this first album, Tales from the Velvet Pocket, and track 1 through 18 or whatever it is, it's a complete story. I'm super proud of it. So it's totally cohesive, and it's about all these characters making their way through life and what goes on with that. It was very heavily influenced. It's like lounge hip hop, I would say. And it's very E-rated. It's very dirty. It's stories. It's fun. We have all these different characters. And it became this big thing in the Bay, which was pretty cool. Our stage show was amazing. They were like, they were like mini musicals, kind of like. I kicked myself in the pants for like not getting a residency somewhere and doing it over and over and over. But like we created these 1+ hour stage shows that were skits and music, and it was like these little mini musicals, all in costume, all portraying these characters. We would never break character the whole time people were there for the show. And if you get a chance to listen to Tales from the Velvet Pocket by Calrissian, that's the first story, right? And then we did another album called Star Magic, and our stage shows were just magical. And somehow we got adopted by the Burning Man crowd in San Francisco. I mean, it's not even somehow. It was like, it made sense. But we started getting hired by them to do shows at all their big parties. I never went to Burning Man and did it, but I think we could have. But it was really fun, theatrical, hip-hop, very lounge, 70s based, amazing music, almost all produced by DJ Denizen, who was Kilo Venezuela. That was his. That was Smooth Rick, The Chosen. Domingo was Chachi Harlem. There was Felix Living Low, Tyrone Shoelaces. So we had a bunch of characters, but we were all characters. We did these stage shows. The music's awesome on the 2 albums. And yeah, so that was that. The funny thing about that is that we kind of started off trying to make fun of all this stuff, and we all got sucked into it. So there was like a good 4-year period or however long we were doing shows for and doing the albums that like we would incorporate those characters. It was fun, but dangerous. It's interesting, right? That's kind of like a story you hear, like people are like getting sucked into the Hollywood lifestyle, you know, whatever it is. And we kind of did for a minute, becoming what you despise. I mean, I wouldn't do that in my everyday life, but when we were like doing our shows and characters, like there was a lot of chicanery.
So we're going to kick up a song that from that called The Falcon that features, I don't know who Mickey Avalon is.
Mickey Avalon's a beast.
Okay.
Maybe some people out there would know, but yeah, 2 LA boys, Mickey Avalon and Dernasty. And like, yeah, Simon Dernasty produced some of our stuff on these and other albums as well.
So we end this cut before your verse on it. So we got the first 2 guys.
That's fine. Mine is filthy.
So go ahead and kick this one up. The Falcon from Calrissian.
First verse is by Chachi Harlem. It was Domingo. Coming in, let it play. You gotta hit it. Chachi Harlem, the Choco Hammer.
Is what the ladies say. Don't know what all that means, but it sounds hella sweet. Met a speed freak at the bar on the back of the whiskey. Voice Janis Joplin, body Jamie Priestley. With a hot midi skirt, white pumps, and a synthetic grin. Halogen gold tint, went with a leather skin. I came to the ball, I said it before. I won't let a bad acne bother me no more. Excuse me, love, don't mean to talk out of place, but your mom put this brown paper bag over your face. No, it's not you. The face girl, I love it. It's just have a fetish of Fandango puppet. Anyways, you'll love it.
Fandango, that's David. These Tom's taking in, I can see.
Yeah. I may have to edit a little bit of that out.
It gets real raw. Yeah. Listen to the album. It's super fun, but it gets raw. It's embarrassing to me at some point.
So very humorous. I had seen, I think twice, got to see Calrissian. I was in the Bay Area at the time that you were doing a couple of those, and obscene, absolutely hilarious. Women walking around like you were in a boxing match, but instead of number cards, it was big plates of cocaine.
Fake cocaine.
That's what he says.
According to the Fed. No, it was very theatrical. A lot, again, Ben Sutherland, and we had amazing visuals. It was such a cool production. Yeah,
it was fun. They were fun shows. Wild. Lounge Lizard, filthy, absolutely filthy. There are a couple videos out there which we can throw in the show notes. They're just bonkers.
Yeah, they are.
but
what era was this? What years were these?
So we're talking. Let's see. We did our first Calrissian album, I want to say around 2005.
Okay,
and then maybe the second one around 2009. So we were doing shows all throughout that period. Yeah, it was fun.
I bet it was.
There are some funny videos out there. Look it up.
Very, very funny.
But again, damn, if we had TikTok and everything else, I wouldn't be hanging out with you schlubs.
Yeah, good point.
Fair.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Sure.
So you mentioned earlier how Domingo was slicing cassette tapes and you're using karaoke machines and all that kind of stuff. And then you talked a little bit about, sometimes what you'll do is you'll do your freestyles, record those, then go back to it. Production-wise, how much has that, I know it's changed a lot, but what's kind of like your tools of choice these days when you're looking to make music? Yeah, compared to back then.
I'm a simpleton, man. I don't claim to be talented at all in that realm. Like, I made 2 instrumental albums, but I've only used GarageBand for both of them. I have a MIDI keyboard, a 49 key Alesis with drum pads, and I'm okay with calling myself a talented what's the word?
Writer?
Well,
producer?
Maybe that, but just like a arranger, a composer, I use a lot of samples. I use a lot of samples from real everyday life that I record and I bring in and I play some, and I use Apple loops sometimes. It's just, I feel like competent in doing that. For my people that I work with, they use Fruity. Well, I don't even know if he uses Fruity Loops. But over time we've used MPCs, ASR 10s, all that. But for me personally, when I'm writing, I just listen to an instrumental and write to it. But when I'm making my own beats, it's like I'm too cheap to get Logic. I just get a GarageBand. But I just, I taught myself that, and I'm proud of what I came up with just with my ear, for those 2. But recording, now Il Media, he's legit. He has things I don't even know about and has a legit studio. And Denizen, I don't see him nearly enough, but I'm sure he has 50,000 instrumentals that will just blow everybody's mind. He's kind of a hermit. And he plays instruments and, does everything, brings it all into play. But I'm simple. I don't claim it all to be like an instrumental master, but I feel like I have a good ear for stuff and layering and things like that. So, or a decent ear, you know.
Yeah, very cool.
Cool. All right, man. I think we tore it up.
One more?
Yeah, we'll close you out with something off of your
This is my all-time
album
hit.
Yeah, we're gonna play something off of another self-titled, not self-titled. This is the title cut.
Yeah.
That we're gonna use for the closeout. So we really appreciate you taking the time to come in here.
Yeah, it was fun.
And we're grateful that we've been talking about this almost for a year and a half or so, but we're really grateful that we've had the opportunity to talk.
I'm glad I had something to talk about. I think the first time you asked me, I was like, I don't know. I have to shut up.
So Tom, why don't you send us out and then kick off Wanderlust and Celsius 7, Jacob. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah,
love you.
Okay, I love you. Thanks for being
appreciate
here.
it.
Nice to meet you, Tom. And this is Wanderlust, which is also the title of my first solo album, and it's self-explanatory, man. I'm gonna try.
All right, Jacob.
Explore.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it, and listeners, we appreciate you guys being here. We'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
Dungeons of France, sell the yacht up in Saint-Tropez. And I fell in love with the red-haired beauty by the lakes in Chamonix. But now she hate me, love fickle, what can I say? I was young, far from the A. So I hopped a train off to Barcelona, Spain, where I dreamt as the ocean sprayed. Deep in catacombs with the skeleton bones, I saw cities that were made from death, which centralized all the thoughts in my mind. Bottom line, to respect my breath. Life's an ill poem, so alone in the town of Lyon. Swimming pool, sipping cool panache. Found me mesmerized by the clouds in the sky that would morph every time they passed. Skateboarding through Brussels, where the raindrops fell on the bunk of a hostel with a story to tell. Sipping brews on a cruise in the Louvre, I fell so in love as I gazed off the Tour Eiffel. Luxembourg, stirred possibility. The Norman, I'm meant for nobility. Wanderlust.